Hello YouTube, I hope everyone is doing well today. My name is Pavel and today I'll be making a quick video discussing and comparing a couple guitars that I own. One is the Jackson JS it's the Randy Rhoads model JS32T, and the other one is a Gibson SGJ. I believe these are the ones that were released in 2013. I think the JS32s were also released in 2013 if I'm not mistaken, but don't quote me on that. So I'll be discussing a couple of general points today, and as well as some specifics about the guitars and comparing them and why I like them. To start off, basically there is a price difference between the JS32 and the Gibson. The JS32 cost me 149 British pounds. I live in the UK. That's for my friends in America, viewers in America, if you're watching, hello. That's 230 US dollars, or for my buddies in Europe, that's 205 euro. The Gibson, on the other hand, cost 550 US dollars, which is 360 British pounds, or 490 euro. So there is a price difference. But the first thing I want to say with absolute certainty is that a cheap guitar does not equal a bad guitar. Not always. There is obviously really terrible cheap guitars, and there's probably really terrible expensive guitars as well, but not always, especially for these big companies like Jackson, like Ibanez, Schecter, Gibson. You know, these companies have the economies of scale to produce cheap guitars well. So this is a Chinese-made Jackson. It has a bolt-on neck. And that brings me on to my second general point, is the difference between bolt-on and set neck. The Gibson is a set neck, you can see here. And you can see the little bolt-on plate there. So, bolt-on guitars, in my experience, I've owned a few. I've owned a Jackson, well, the Jackson now, I bought it on Thursday, now it's Saturday, so I've had it for 2 days, I'm really happy with it. I've had a Dean Razorback Biomech, which is from the Explosion type series. There's also bolt-on, a Washburn X Series Pro, and a BC Rich Warbeast Trace T, and all of them have been bolt-on necks, and all of them be very good guitars. And the nice thing about them is that the necks are replaceable. If anything happens, if you live in a place where the weather changes constantly, it's raining, it's not raining, it's raining, it can morph the neck, it can damage the neck, and a bolt-on neck is very easily replaceable. You go online, you order a new one, it comes in a couple days, you bolt it onto the guitar, done. Set necks, on the other hand, if anything happens to them, that sucks, because they're very expensive to replace, and often it takes a long time. You'll be away from the guitar, you'll start to miss it, you know, there's the emotional damage. I'm a terrible actor, as you can see. Right, moving on. So, a couple things I want to say about the Jackson. It's a rosewood fingerboard, basswood body, 25.5-inch scale. It says on the website, on the Jackson website, it says that it's one-piece bolt-on neck, but actually, if you can see here, you see that little curve. That's about more than 3/4 of the way up the neck. That's you can see where the other piece of wood is glued. So it's not actually a one-piece neck. It's two pieces, because the piece of wood for the headstock seems to be strangely long. But anyway, it doesn't really make a difference. The neck is very thin, it's very playable, it's very smooth. There's almost no friction. I haven't put any kind of oil on it or fast fret, nothing like that. It is just a very well finished neck. It's very smooth, and I love it because that addresses one major issue I've always had with guitars. The finish does cause friction sometimes, and it makes it difficult to change positions quickly, move up and down the fretboard. So that's one reason I really like the Jackson. Another thing about it is the Jackson high output pickups. Here they are. They're, for a stock pickup, I gotta say I'm really impressed. I don't think, other than the Gibson, I don't think I've ever bought a guitar before that's had such a nice stock pickup. I've always had to change them. In fact, even for the Jackson, I'm planning to change them with a Seymore Duncan Black Winter pickup to make the guitar scream. The Black Winter pickup, in my opinion, is absolutely amazing, but it costs almost 200 pounds for a calibrated set, which is quite a bit more than a guitar, so I'm still holding off on that to see if I really love this instrument before I decide to invest more than its actual worth into making it better. But you know, if it continues playing like it does, which no reason not to, I think I will make that adjustment and, you know, make it a better guitar, so to say. And it's all about what you get out of it. I mean, if you wanna edit your guitar, you do. If you don't, that's again a nice thing about having a cheap guitar, is you have that freedom to just kind of screw around with it and not feel too bad, or not feel too worried that you're potentially making a mistake, because you don't have to invest all that much money into it. So it's a Chinese made guitar, which it had the little sticker. I hate stickers on things. I took it off, but it had passed the Chinese quality control level 9 rating. In China they have quite a few different ratings of quality control, and level 9 is pretty high up there. So when I look at the guitar, I can't actually find anything wrong with it, and that makes me really happy, because it really is a great guitar, especially for the price. I mean, that just makes it so much better. So without further ado, I've been talking for a while. I'll show you how it sounds. I'm plugged into a Line 6 Spider 4 amplifier, and I apologize for the quality of the sound. I am recording off my phone. I don't make many videos, so I don't have a camera. But here's how it sounds. I'm on the bridge pickup. I never use a neck pickup because it's not really my thing. Well, I like how it sounds. It has a bit of a thin sound, in my opinion. I'm not sure if I'm using the right word, actually. It's not quite as warm as the Gibson, I can say that with certainty, but I like it. It's got a bit more scratch, it got a little bit more tack to it. And with the setting I play with my bass turned very, very low on my amplifier, almost, I think it's set at 2 or 3 at the moment, more or less. The mid setting is set at about 5 and the treble is at 10, so I play with a slightly strange setting, and gain is at about 9, I think. Yeah, it's 9. Sorry, the drive is on 9, and the amp model is an insane. That's what I love about Line 6, they have an insane mode. So it's a good guitar. It slides. It's nice. It's fun to play with. It's really comfortable. That's one thing I've always been told about these sharper guitars and oddly shaped guitars, that they're not comfortable to play with sitting down. I've heard that from so many people, and I disagree completely. It's incredibly comfortable. It just fits right between your legs. If you've got a strap to keep it up, it's great. It just stays where it is, and all you got to do is play. So that's the Jackson. Another thing I want to comment about the Jackson is the tuning pegs. They are the Jackson tuning pegs. I'm not sure if they have a particular model, but I think that they're probably, judging by the feel, probably like 16:1 or 18:1 ratio, whereas the Gibson has their standard, their classic tuning pegs here, which are 14:1 ratio. Now the reason I like the Jackson ones more is that it makes it much easier to tune the guitar. You don't have to play with it quite so much, whereas with the Gibson it's very easy to overshoot or undershoot a tuning with very fine movement, so it takes a little bit longer and a little bit more patience to really tune it perfectly, whereas this, it makes life just so much simpler. I'm currently using, I restrung it yesterday because when it came, obviously it probably been sitting in a box for a while. The strings were rusted. I put on a set of standard 9-gauge DR strings, which I love DR. They're really great strings in my opinion. They haven't stretched to their full extent yet, so there's still a little buzz, and I think my action is set way too low, so the strings are buzzing on some of the frets, so I'm going to have to adjust that soon. But again, really easy fix with the little bridge piece here. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's a Tune-O-Matic style bridge, and it's a string through body kind of setup, and all the wiring is inside the faceplate. There's no back plate here, as you can see. So that's pretty cool. Now, I'm gonna switch real quick to now. What I want to talk about with the Gibson is it's really an incredible guitar. I've got Yannick Gers from Iron Maiden's signature on it right there. So cool. This is the Gibson SGJ model. On their website, the model that they have on the website is the 120th anniversary version, which is slightly different from my one. I can't find this particular one on the website, so I think they may have discontinued it. Basically, I'm not sure what pickups are on there. They're just standard Gibson pickups as far as I know, passive pickups. The website says that they're 61 Zebra Alnico pickups, which mine are not, clearly. And the other thing that's different is that this little crown logo that's usually here isn't on this guitar, but it is a, I'm not sure if you can see it, probably not, USA made guitars. They're engraving there, and with the serial number etched into the actual wood. It's not a sticker or anything like that. And it's a great guitar. It's really light, it's very thin, again, very comfortable for playing. This is when I like to have a foot pedal with this guitar particularly, because it's a little more comfortable. I haven't bought one yet, so I usually just put my foot on a bag or something. I have on this guitar at the moment Elixir 10 gauge strings, heavy bottom, light top, and I think it gives it a bit more of a warmer sound, but I think also it's partially to do with the neck being a set neck, and probably the body being mahogany. I'm not an expert, I'll be honest, so I don't know how much of an audible difference the components make. Obviously there is differences in the guitars and the builds and the strings I'm using, so there will be a difference in sound. And here's how the Gibson sounds through the amplifier. On this one I'm tuned to drop D tuning, on that one I was tuned to an E standard. So here it is. Right, one thing when it comes to playability is I like the Gibson, but its finish is a little bit more glossy, I think, than the Jackson, and it does add a little bit of friction while playing. So that's one thing I commented on earlier, that that sometimes bothers me. It's not too much of an issue with this particular guitar. I've had other guitars which were way worse, like ESPs, for example. They paint their necks, and a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of the models that I've played, and that causes a lot of friction. I'm generally not a big fan of ESP. I love how their guitars look, but it just doesn't fit my playing. There are great instruments though. I'm definitely not saying that they're not good. The Gibson is warmer. It has a much fuller sound, I think. So I think personally I'd use the Jackson for more shredding style kind of riffs and pieces, because it has that colder, more attacking sound, whereas this is warmer. I like using this for rhythm, for these heavy attack kind of rhythms that I like playing, which are this is a nice guitar for that. Another thing I like is the stop tail, the stop bar, and the tune-o-matic bridge. They give this really nice little buffer place where I can rest my palm and really do some fast aggressive picking, whereas the Jackson has the string through body. So I'm still kind of adjusting how I hold my hand and play that. But again, I've had the guitar for 2 days, so I'll get used to that over time. Basically, to wrap up this video, I just want to say these are both really amazing instruments, and they're fairly budget instruments. I mean, $550 for a Gibson it's not a bad price as far as I know. And what was it, $200 for a Jackson guitar is also a really good price. They're really nice instruments. They're both comfortable. They have great sounds. They look good. They have great paint jobs. They have lifetime warranties, and you can really do a lot with them. I haven't bought a very expensive guitar, mainly because I don't think I'm a good enough guitarist, so it's not worth me buying a very expensive guitar when I can't do that much with it. I think as I get better, I'll obviously invest more money into guitars. For now, especially for people looking for budget guitars and trying to debate whether or not, like, oh, I'm worried about buying a Chinese-made Jackson, I don't know if it'll be good. I can tell you that it is good. It might not be the best guitar you pick up. It certainly won't be the best guitar you pick up. But for $200, especially for a metal guitar, it's really, really high up there in ranking. Like, when you consider the price range, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10 for its price range. And when you consider overall, I'd probably give the guitar maybe like a 5 out of 10. But again, for its budget, it's an incredible instrument. And this as well. I mean, the Gibson is a really nice guitar. It's light. It's fun to play. And I think I've about said everything I have to say. I feel like I'm losing my momentum, so I'm going to stop there.